Okay, so I'm Ben Nuttall. I work at Raspberry Pi Foundation based in Cambridge in the UK. I work as community manager. As Jen said, I write for opensource.com, which is a great way to kind of get out there what we're up to and what's going on in the Pi world. I also created a project called GPIO 0 and something called Pi Wheels. Okay. So, although the Raspberry Pi Foundation was founded in 2008, the first product that came out was launched in 2012. On day one, 100,000 units were sold, but only 10,000 units existed at that point. So over the next few months, we worked hard to get all that manufacturing done and fulfill all those shipments. And towards the end of the year, you got to a point where you could reliably just buy one and receive it next day. And around this time, a lot of community stuff started happening around Raspberry Pi. People set up something called Raspberry Jams, which are community meetups to learn about Raspberry Pi, and they're generally open to all ages. So parents can take their kids along. Retired electronics hobbyists would go along and start learning about electronics and Raspberry Pi again, and learning programming skills and that kind of thing. A group of people set up a community unofficial magazine called the Magpie, and there'll be more on that later. And also lots of people started making their own add-on boards and cases and all sorts of accessories for the Pi. Some of those actually became full-on businesses that are still running today, making accessories for the Pi and selling them. So 2013, we moved manufacturing of the Raspberry Pi from China to the UK, which was a great achievement. Did a few minor board revisions, nothing major, and we'd actually sold a million units in the first year, and by the end of this year, there were about 2 million units sold. The foundation started hiring people, like that guy there, that's me, and we started in 2014. We launched a new website where we had learning resources, official documentation. We launched a teacher training program called Pi Academy, where we train teachers and get them inspired about learning physical computing and electronics using open source software. We also did a few board revisions, so the Raspberry Pi A+ and the B+ came out. They were the new form factor. The B+ was released at the same price as the previous product, $35. The A+ came out at $20. We also launched an industrial compute module for industrial customers to embed the Pi into their products. 2015, we launched the Pi 2, a whole new generation of Raspberry Pi, in the same form factor as the B+, and fully backwards compatible at the same price of $35. We added a quad core and gave it a gigabyte of RAM. The Magpie, the magazine that I mentioned earlier, became an official publication of Raspberry Pi, and we put it in the shops. You can now buy it, but it was as it was before. You can access free downloads of the magazine, and that's still going today. We hired our first person in the US, Matt Richardson. We merged with Code Club, a group of volunteer-led clubs around the world for teaching kids coding skills. Nothing specific to the Raspberry Pi, but we joined up with them to help them sustain those clubs. We sent 2 Raspberry Pis to the International Space Station at the end of 2015. They're running code written by kids, science experiments written in Python. And we also launched the Pi 0, a $5 variant of the Raspberry Pi. In 2016, we launched our Pi Academy program in the US, so training American teachers. We launched the Raspberry Pi Desktop, a new nice looking skin for the Raspberry Pi, lightweight desktop theme. And we also launched that for x86, so you can launch it, you can run that operating system on your PC the same way you run it on your Pi. We launched the Pi 3, which is our kind of the main generation of Raspberry Pi today. And in 2017, we launched the Raspberry Pi 3 B+, which is a revision on that. We launched 2 new magazines, Hello World for a magazine for educators, a Hackspace, a magazine for modern makers. We merged with Coder Dojo, who do out-of-school clubs as well. We launched a new project site and officially launched Raspberry Pi Foundation North America. Sorry, I said Raspberry Pi B+ was 2017, but it was 2018. We launched the PoE hat, Power over Ethernet board for the Pi. We celebrated our 6th birthday with the Raspberry Pi Big Birthday Weekend. We launched a Scout badge, the digital maker badge in the UK. And coming up in 2019, just to finish off, Raspberry Pi's 7th birthday is going to be celebrated in March around the world. And we have an event called Coolest Projects, which is a technology fair for young people to demonstrate their projects. Thank you.